Hey guys, Ben here. In the history of watchmaking, there's a few watches that are so iconic that they become timeless classics for centuries to come. Rolex, considered to be many as the king of watches, has achieved that status with their line of Submariner. But today we're not talking about Rolex. Today we're talking about a watch equally as iconic, perhaps with double the historical significance. The Omega Speedmaster Professional, better known as a moon watch, was the first and last watch to land on the moon. The Omega Speedmaster first debuted in 1957 alongside the Railmaster and the Seamaster. The Speedmaster was intended to be a racing chronograph, but as a twist of fate, it ended up accompanying NASA astronauts to outer space. Ever since I started watch collecting, the Speedmaster was set as one of my grails. I mean, how could I not with this watch having such historical significance? Not to mention that its design is handsome and timeless. Unfortunately, sometime into my collecting journey, what was once my grail became just another watch. What drew me into the Speedmaster in the first place, its status icon, ironically made me fall out of love with it. But just a few months ago, something triggered within myself. I realized that I had always loved and admired the Speedmaster, not because of its rich heritage or status symbol, which are great bonuses, I'm not gonna lie, but because of its aesthetic appeal combined with its top-notch quality. The Speedmaster of my choice is a reference ending with 006, also known as a Sapphire Sandwich. I recently got the opportunity of trading for this Speedy, and well, it's here with me now. Let's get started with the box. One thing that jumps out straight away is that the box is really big, to the point that it can easily dwarf a typical Omega box. The presentation of this box is a definition of luxury, and it is something that's fitting for the legendary Speedmaster. When you open the box, it comes with a variety of features. There's a little booklet that gives you information regarding the Speedmaster's history. There's a loop with a tachymeter, which I think was a nice touch. It comes with two accessory straps, a NATO and a NASA strap, along with a spring bar tool. There's also an Omega coin badge for that extra added touch. There's a heated debate among watch collectors on Hezolite versus Sapphire crystal on the Speedmaster. I know that the version that went to the moon had a Hezolite crystal due to its better blunt impact resistance, but we live on Earth. I think it's more practical for most of us normal citizens to benefit from the scratch resistance of the Sapphire crystal, which is exactly why I opted for the Speedmaster with the reference number ending in 006, aka the Sapphire Sandwich. I just think that the Sapphire Sandwich was a much needed modernized iteration of the Speedmaster. The Speedmaster measures at 40mm from one end of the tachymeter to the other, but the case as a whole is measured in at 42mm. I have to say that this watch hides its width pretty well, and it looks more like a 40mm rather than a 42mm. The lug width is 20mm, so it'll fit a universal array of aftermarket straps. The Speedy is also known for its strap versatility, and I can confirm that that's the case. The lug-to-lug length is 48mm, but it measures in at around 53mm from one solid end link to the other. Due to this protrusion of solid end links, I recommend this watch on the Bracelet for a wrist size of down to 6.5 inches if you want it to look more natural on your wrist. On its strap, I'd recommend it for a wrist size of 6 inches or up. Also for reference, my wrist size is 7.1 inches, the case thickness of this watch is 13.6mm, but some of that comes from the domed sapphire crystal. If you want to fit this watch underneath the cuff, I'd recommend setting your cuff to its wider option. The bracelet of the Speedmaster is finished quite nicely. It's mostly brush finished, except for the outer edges of the center links, which are polished. One small issue that I had with the Seamaster is that its bracelet didn't taper down at all, but fortunately, this bracelet tapers down from a 20mm to a nice 18mm for a better aesthetic appeal. The clasp is a pretty standard Omega clasp, nothing crazy, but not bad either. It has one slot for micro adjustability, which isn't much, but it is something. I'd say majority of you shouldn't have any problems fitting this bracelet to your wrist. As mentioned earlier, this watch is a strap monster. It can basically go with any type of strap you have, and it'll still look great. The versatility of this watch is limitless. Whether it's on a strap or a bracelet, you can dress this watch up and down however you see fit. Even though the loomed indices are not as big as diver watches for instance, this watch still has a solid lume. You shouldn't have any problems being able to tell the time in the dark. The chronograph mechanism on this watch is pretty cool. The watch has 3 sub-dials. The left sub-dial tells time in 60-second increments. The one on the right in 30-minute increments. And the center one in 12-hour increments. Due to the chronograph mechanism, the watch's water resistance is only 50 meters. The watch is splash and rainproof, but I wouldn't risk taking this watch into the pool. But that's okay, because chronos aren't watches that you should wear into the pool anyways. You have diver watches for that. This is a watch you wear when you're driving or having a cookout, or stuff of that nature. There is another reason as to why I prefer the Sapphire Sandwich compared to that of the Hazelite Speedy. That's because unlike the Hazelite version, this Speedy has a gorgeous exhibition caseback. This Speedmaster uses the Omega caliber 1863, and I must say that it is finished exquisitely. It's a manual hand wind movement, so you will have to spend a minute out of your day to wind it, but that's okay because that's your time to connect with your watch. With manual wind watches, the crispness of the wind is just as important as the aesthetic of the watch itself, and from experience, the winding process is crisp and satisfying. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video informative, and leave a comment down below which version of the Speedy is your favorite. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel a lot. Thank you all so much for making it to the end, and I'll see you on the next video.